Hello everyone, my name is JordonAM. Today's an interesting one. So, in curiosity, I finally got my first sleeper PC. I was searching through the Facebook marketplace and I came across a guy who was selling a sleeper mid-range gaming PC for $300. I would have looked over this if I had not looked at the specs. After about a month of planning when to meet up, I finally got the PC and I checked everything. You might be wondering, what does this PC have? I mean, that's why you clicked on this video, didn't you? Well, I took a peek inside and it has a mini ITX motherboard with an ASRock with an Intel i5 4400 at 3.1 gigahertz and two 4GB sticks of DDR3 RAM. We even have our dedicated graphics card, which is the beefy MSI Gaming X Radeon RX 580 8GB edition. It's all being powered by a 450 watt EVGA power supply unit and an all very innocent looking case. All for $300. This was an extremely good price. The real question was, how well can it game? I first started with Black Desert Online. I was able to get away with 1080p high settings and I got around an average of 58 frames per second. Black Desert is a game that I've owned for a while, but it didn't play very well for my old laptop, which had a 7th gen Intel i5 processor and ran on integrated graphics, so I could only get around 20 frames per second on very low. But back then, that was pretty good for me. The second game I tried was Rainbow Six Siege. Now this is where the RX 580 really shined. Seeing as the game only needs around 4GB of VRAM, the RX 580's 8GB was overkill for the game, letting me able to crank up all my settings to max at 1080p, and was able to get an amazing 120 frames per second. Now seeing as I can't see those extra frames, it really didn't affect me as much, but the fact that I was able to have smooth, constant gameplay with no stuttering, I can't complain at all. A third game is actually pretty CPU intensive. This is Vainglory. I don't play the game much, but it was one of the only MOBAs I could play, seeing as I suck at Dota 2, have a huge distaste for League of Legends, and Free Hong Kong for Heroes of the Storm. This game also did just fine, but then again, most MOBAs don't need a whole lot to run well. The game runs at an amazing 200 frames per second, so stuttering is non-existent. The i5 4400 shines in this category. The fourth game I tried was Apex Legends. The game runs on high and averages 60 frames per second with VSync on, meaning that I could get theoretically more frames if I turned it off, but seeing as this is a newer game and the CPU's a bit old, I did not want to take my chances with stuttering. However, the game played just fine. In my test run, I actually won my first ever match of Apex. Would you look at that? Fifth game I played is, of course, Fortnite. With epic settings, I was able to get around 50 frames per second, a high 50 frames per second, and then averaged up to 60 later on in the test while I was in Weeping Woods. The game also ran extremely well in Save the World mode with similar performance. Last game I did was actually a benchmark on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I put the game on 1080p with a mix of high and medium and got an average of 48 frames per second. The game does stutter though because of the CPU bottleneck, so playing Odyssey on here is probably possible if you lowered the graphics down just a bit more, probably to 900p or 720p, and I think it'll run just fine. So that was the sleeper PC that I got. I'd like to thank the seller for building this decent machine. I'll probably upgrade it later, maybe switch out the CPU to a Ryzen 3, and then later switch out the motherboard so I can have that DDR4 memory capability. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's a really good build, especially if you're on a budget and don't want to buy those pre-builds that usually have worse parts in them and they cost a bit more because, you know, they do it for the brand. And and definitely support your locals. Definitely felt good about buying it off of him. Really great guy. He even stuck around to make sure that it was in working condition. Like he set it. He walked into the dorms, went up to my room and actually helped me set it up, and then we turned it on. Actually, he opened up the PC at first with a screwdriver and let me look inside, and everything seemed to be in order. And then we set it up. I used system information. He even let me check that, and he was completely cool about it. And he was actually surprised that I knew how to do that. But yeah, again, definitely support your locals. There's really good people out there. But also be careful of scammers, of course, because that can happen. I've seen some stuff that Random Gaming in HD went through with that kind of stuff. But yeah, this guy was really cool, and I give him a 10 stars for that. he was a really good seller, and I hope I was a really good buyer and I wasn't awkward whatsoever. But I haven't done a video like this one, so I apologize if I'm a bit off on what I say, or I'm not giving enough information about the build. Anywho, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and put that notification bell on so you know when I upload. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.